Hello everyone, and for today I'm testing a lesser known game, F.I.S.T, which is also known as Forged in Shadow Torch. Quickly going through the settings: 4K resolution, no FPS limit as well as vertical sync, quality settings are maxed out except motion blur, which is disabled even though here it says low. Also DLSS at quality, I will explain a bit about that later. Without sharpness, DirectX 12, Nvidia Reflex is enabled, and ray tracing is maxed out. Now, as I mentioned, DLSS is at quality preset even though it says auto, and that's because I installed F.I.S.T Fix, which is community made patch. If you're interested in getting that patch, I think I'll leave a link in the comments down below. It basically fixes quite a few things. One of them is the option to select different DLSS presets, which you would typically see, like quality, performance, balanced, and ultra performance. And the other thing that for some people might be relevant is the aspect ratio fix for ultra wide screens. I think there are some fixes for 16:9 as well, because there may be some cutscenes fixed to some weird aspect ratio as well, so I think that fixes that too. Also, you have to go to the configuration files in order to disable chromatic aberration, as well as fully disable motion blur, because you cannot do that from the in-game menu settings, which is quite unfortunate and often actually quite annoying, to be honest. So here are the command lines in order to disable them, as well as the configuration file location. It is also possible to disable depth of field, but for this game I left it on. Unfortunately, no fix cannot fix those stutters, and I'm afraid there are traversal stutters, maybe shader completion, because the game never stops stuttering. It may be potentially related with storage speed as well. I'm using it on my fast HDD, but as you may know, fast HDD still cannot match SSD. But still, I checked few benchmarks online and all of them are stuttering, so I don't think that's the case for the storage speed. And really, I don't think you can fix them. Maybe with FPS lock. I haven't tried it personally, but yeah, it's not great, definitely. And usually I'm not that ultra critical of stutters. In this case, they are very severe, and I definitely noticed them, and I do not like it at all. Personally, I got this game for free from EGS, and I finished it very recently actually. For the most part, I actually quite liked it. The combats, especially characters, are amazing, the soundtrack as well, but one thing that kinda ruined it for me is the final boss difficulty. Usually I'm quite persistent and quite patient when it comes to game difficulty, but the difficulty spike with final boss is insane. I had to play for like 3 to 4 hours to finish that boss, and it was honestly very frustrating. For the most part, the most bosses in this game are actually quite decent and not too hard, I would say. I played it on normal difficulty, and I beat most bosses within few tries or first try sometimes. But the final boss, yeah, it took me a while. And after the whole game, after I finished it, leaving my computer with sweaty hands, feeling tired and frustrated, is really not my intent with gaming. And while I enjoyed the game for the most part, the final boss, as I mentioned, really ruined it for me. Maybe it's just my issue, maybe you had completely different experience, or may have, but for me, it's, I would say, average game. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't recommend. I actually really do, and I think you should try it. But I would say wait for the sale, or if possible for free if you can get it. Because I think sometimes EGS can give away this one as well. So maybe you can get lucky, maybe you got lucky when it was. And yeah, at least trying it out, I definitely can recommend. But if you're really not that interested in difficult games, I would recommend playing on easy instead. I think playing this on easy would be much better time for casual gameplay. So overall decent game, way too difficult final boss, excellent characters, I quite like the story as well, combat is also quite decent, great graphics. Overall I would give it maybe 7 out of 10, maybe 6.5 out of 10, but I would still recommend this one. And that's about it for my commentary. I'll leave you to the gameplay. As always, thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye for now.
Hey, it's Ray. Out for word of You get Urso made this red.